Gungnir is the John Wick of his story, maintaining his position as the most terrifying legendary assassin the world has ever known. But surprisingly, the same man has turned into an ordinary high schooler. Don't let that fool you though. He still has the same skills and absolutely dogs on a group of thugs like it's a regular Tuesday. Having destroyed his targets in the background, he welcomes his peaceful new life as a regular high school student. But to get here, let's go back to his backstory. This guy is the strongest assassin ever and was on his final mission to leave for good. Seizing his target, Chairman Akagi, he showcases godlike speed, reacting incredibly fast to bullets, and eliminating everyone in his path. Akagi knew that he wasn't getting out of this one alive and begged for mercy, when Hayate, who is also an assassin and Tuji's best friend, killed the guy for him. Their organization tasked them to kill Akagi, so naturally they shoot the chairman down and conclude their job. Shortly after the kill, Tuji glanced at Akagi's phone screen and saw a photo of him with his daughter. He no longer wanted to participate in a life of killing and officially retired. Tuji returns home to his beloved girlfriend Mirai, who is waiting to cook a nice meal for him. On his way back, Hayate is out here singing praises of Tuji's expertise and how amazing he is as the #1 assassin. Though everyone fears his name and reputation, Hayate thinks that it helps in their line of work. He already feels sad that his best friend is retiring for good, but our boy's done grinding his job and wants to cruise a normal life. All of it started happening ever since he met Mirai, his girlfriend. He wants to live a peaceful life with her and their dog John, allowing him a rare warmth that he couldn't normally experience before. Hayate thinks that it's going to be hard for an assassin, especially when all he knows is how to kill. Surprisingly, the ruthless assassin is also a lover boy who wants to propose to his girlfriend soon. Returning home, Tuji looks dapper and welcomes his new life of normalcy. He's nervous like a geek, preparing himself to meet his lover. The smell of blood puts him on edge and terror looms over him. He wants to start a new life with Mirai, but right as he dashes in, his hopes are reduced to ashes. Mirai is resting in a pool of blood alongside his dog. Defeated, he goes up to her, questioning what could have caused this to happen. Sensing Hayate just behind, he calls out his best friend, who praises Tuji for always knowing who's following him. Unfortunately, the organization doesn't want someone like him to live a retired life, especially when he refuses to help them achieve their goals. Hayate thinks that Mirai is a problem, which is why he killed her, allowing Tuji to become free. By the will of Odin, he kills Tuji right when he's already down, regretting the loss of the greatest assassin. In his final thoughts, Tuji reflects the harsh reality. A man like him could never achieve a happy ending and a normal life, and because of him, his lover suffered the consequences for the actions of a ruthless murderer who dared to dream too far. That's until he hears a bunch of voices murmuring in his unconscious state, helping him. Those voices seem unfamiliar up until he finally reopens his eyes. But this time, he is no longer Tuji the assassin, and he's no longer dying next to his loved ones. The boy helplessly tries to move out of the bed in a state of panic. His vision is blurry until he takes a look in the mirror, realizing he's someone completely different. At this moment, the once feared most ruthless assassin of his time is nothing more than a young boy. Kaido Fujiwara is told that he has cleared all of his tests and his rehabilitation cycle has been successful over the course of the past month. The doctor is happy to exclaim that the boy's lost memories will also return when he returns to his usual life, implying that Kaido experienced some kind of amnesia. Though that's just one side of the story. Because for Korean John Wick over here, the last thing he remembers is the heartbreaking sight of his beloved girlfriend resting in cold blood, alongside his treasured dog. The man known as Tuji, the deadliest assassin who wanted to exit from the dark life he had led, was betrayed by his one and only friend Hayate. The next thing he knows, he's inside the body of a young boy, except his identity is completely different from the cold-blooded assassin he once was. There's far too much to untangle for him, but for now, the guy has pieced together a bunch of things during his stay at the hospital. Apparently, Kaido Fujiwara, the original owner of his body, was tragically run over and became a victim of Truck Kun on his way to school. The boy suffered a life-threatening brain injury that required immediate surgery, and after falling into a month-long coma, he finally woke up. Except this time, it's not Kaido, but rather Tuji, who is genuinely curious about the process of surgery and how it was carried out. Unfortunately, he doesn't have any clue on what happened shortly after he was killed. The last thing he remembers was a voice claiming that Tuji's brain was perfectly unharmed. Putting two and two together, Bro realizes that he got his ass lobotomized Kenjaku style. Confusion surrounds him regarding the exact details of the aftermath of his death, but a gush of emotions overpower him. The same ruthless assassin sheds one tear after another, grieving the loss of his beloved girlfriend and his happy future to be. In the next scene, Kaido is discharged and goes to his parents. Kyoko, the boy's mother, breaks down in tears like any mother would after seeing her child return home safe. His father, Taro Fujiwara, is interestingly a manga artist, who equally celebrates his son's speedy recovery. The boy's mother is worried about Kato's amnesia, while her husband tries to assure her that everything's gonna be okay as soon as he returns to his normal life. Excited, they turn to their son for his input, but unlike their excitement, the only thing Tuji can experience is dread. He understands that his new identity has become tied to Kaito, but if there's someone connected to the incidents involving his life, then that means things will get complicated soon. But for now, he beams a happy smile, assuring his parents he's gonna be alright, because internally, the deadliest assassin has settled to blend in for now. We quickly transition to the part where they arrive home. Kaito out here experiences true shock, realizing that the kid is a trust fund baby because this house is big as hell. Turns out that his dad isn't just your average manga artist, he's successful. Bro probably wrote Solo Leveling or something, and yes, before you all gangbang me in the comments, I know it's a manhwa. Also, his mother emerges from a family of a renowned doctor, so that's something too. Kyoko directs the boy to his room, and upon stumbling inside, Kaito takes a second to absorb his surroundings. The assassin notes the tidiness in this room. Perfectly organized, and honestly, it's not any different from a typical high schooler's living space. Recalling the boy's parents, he remembers how both of them were worried sick and frequented checking up on him in the hospital. This means Kaito is loved and cherished by his family, and it reminds the assassin of his girlfriend's one and only desire, for him to be happy. This is the kind of happiness that the assassin couldn't experience because of his life. If anything, the assassin Tuji doesn't want to lead a life that ends up disappointing Kaito's parents. Strangely, he notices an interesting photo. This time, it's not just the boy's parents, but also another family of 3. From the looks of things, the assassin understands he has to learn everything he possibly can about the boy's background. The following morning, we got a new visitor. This chick pulls up in a long-ass limo just to visit Kaito, disregarding the fact that he was only discharged 1 day ago. It seems that she's stubborn about seeing him because of how far they go back. The boy's father opens the door to find the radiant Yuzua smiling at him. She's eager to check on her friend's condition, asking what he's doing. Right as the boy's father is about to answer, Kaito peeps in and realizes that Yuzuha is the same girl he saw in the photo. Without wasting another breath, the girl strangles him with a tight hug, offering her concerns for his health. Kyoko is glad to see them bonding together like always. As for our boy, he's keenly observing everyone's reaction and pieces together the information that Yuzuha must be his childhood friend. She's excited and wants to invite him for a ride to school, but Kaito rejects it, realizing that this chick's family background is even wealthier than his own. Taro tries to butt in, but Yuzuha shoves this man right into the car, promising to take care of his state. She turns back to announce a celebratory party for Kaito's successful recovery. Both his parents are left astonished and resume work, while our duo sets off for school. At school, a bunch of thugs that look like they live on the streets are about to execute their plan. Tetsu, their leader, intends to mess with Yuzuha, even though his friends are scared that they'll get in trouble for hurting the daughter of Steve Jobs. Giving them a strong glare, Tetsu reminds his clowns that they're acting like pussies for no reason. He thinks that they've already gone too deep by taking money from a specific someone, which means they really have no choice but to execute this job. That's just the kind of people they're dealing with. As they're discussing their malicious plans, Yuzuha's expensive escort arrives, except this time, they're surprised to see a boy next to her. His goons explains that he's just a normie who happens to be her childhood friend and got into an accident recently. Hearing this, Tetsu is intrigued and creeps up with a smile. In the next scene, both Yuzuha and Kaito part their ways for their own classes. The assassin takes a second to assess her personality, believing that she's a kind friend who looks out for him like an older sister. Entering his new classroom, Kaito experiences a hint of normal life, having never attended a proper school before. The clueless boy asks for his seat, and a classmate is happy to see him. But the same guy's face turns from a smile to the look of fear when he sees the towering Tetsu standing just behind him. The intimidating jerk picks on him, declaring that there's no place for Kaito in this class and that he's going to be coming with them. Shortly after, the same group takes him outside, while the clueless Kaito is out here questioning if he's got a desk here or something. Recalling the way these guys snickered earlier, Kaito senses that they must be messing with him, especially now that they're eyeing him down. Pissed off, Kaito demands to know where his seat is, while Tetsu and his underlings find the situation entertaining. Walking up to the boy, the delinquent offers the innocent boy a dilemma. If he can beg on his knees, then they'll be happy to let him be with just a few punches. Apparently this guy's got to stick up his ass because Yuzuha likes Kaito instead of him. Tetsu even threatens the boy that if he ever dares to step a foot in her direction, he's gonna kill both of them. It's funny that he's saying this to basically John Wick out here. Kaito takes a second to understand the situation, disappointed to learn that these punks truly are his enemies. He's sad, not for himself, but for his new batch of victims who are about to get bodied. The assassin didn't want to hurt anyone in the boy's body, intending to lead a clean life. For a final warning, he calmly tells Tetsu that if he takes back his words, they can settle this peacefully. Of course, this remark gets the blonde, showerless punk raging like he's having diarrhea after Taco Bell. Pulsing with ferocity, this man charges ahead with his fist, aiming to kill the boy with a single attack. but my glorious king assesses the trajectory of the attack, considering this guy a pure amateur for attacking with a lousy punch, exposing a million weak spots. The attack is so pitifully slow that Kaido doesn't even have to try and easily destroys Tetsu's confidence with a single punch of his own. Realizing that this situation calls for serious measures, he beautifully palm strikes Tetsu's chin, before ragdolling him to the ground with a judo slam, all at the same time realizing that the real world is pathetically peaceful to the hell he's used to. A while passes until Yuzuha comes rushing for his aid, only to realize that this man is aura farming in front of the piercing sunlight. Turns out this man wasn't in danger, he is the danger. Yuzuha is astonished, questioning if the boy standing in front of her is truly the same Kaido she's known all her life. Yuzuha helplessly asks if he's responsible for beating them to the ground. At first our boy is hesitant, and eventually comes up with the excuse that he was dragged into a pointless fight. Apparently Yuzuha heard the news too, which is why she rushed to get to the rooftop to check on him. She wants to believe the reality that an innocent-looking boy like Kaido couldn't have been involved in such a brutal fight. But that's only until he spots a tinge of blood on his collar, thinking that he must have gotten hurt or something. Kaido tries to reason that he's perfectly fine, but Yuzuha is a worried mess and roars at him for making her worry like that. Her worried anger turns to sadness, unable to accept the idea of him getting hurt. The assassin wonders what happened and apologizes anyway. They decide to return to class for now, but as they're leaving, Kaido hears the murmuring of the beaten-up blonde. Bro is mad and plans to take revenge against him. The scene quickly cuts to the late-night party that Yuzuha planned earlier. His parents brought out the champagne and the most salivating food on the table. I mean, who the hell did they hire for all of that, Gordon Ramsay? While the boy's parents are enjoying the moment in a happy laugh, Kaido can't help but once again reminisce the image of his beloved girlfriend, Mirai, who often smiled at him the same and urged him to eat quickly. Hearing her words, this man went from a killing machine to an eating machine. Even their dog wanted to try the food. That same night, Tuji went to his girlfriend, wondering if this is what it felt like to experience a happy moment with one's own family. That same feeling is channeled to his current self, as he finally experiences what a normal life feels like. Anyway, Yuzuha appears to be late to the party, even though it was her idea to begin with. The boy's father exclaims that Yuzuha is going through some rough times recently, even though she never shows it and always puts on a brave face. Suddenly, an unpleasant feeling starts creeping up in the boy's chest, as if his senses were giving him a warning of some kind. Curious, he checks his phone, only to see his childhood friend calling him. He picks up, asking about her condition, only to hear the same punk's voice from earlier. The punk is glad that he quickly caught on, and invites the boy to come to a specific location according to his coordinates. And if Kaido refuses, they're going to make sure Yuzuha pays the consequences for it. By the way, the same chick and her driver are being held hostage, so he's really not kidding around. Yuzuha's voice roars from behind as she pleads with him not to come, but our boys heard everything he wanted to hear, and realized that they're gonna hurt her if he doesn't act soon. So he asks for directions, and the delinquent gladly offers it. The phone call ends shortly after, and Kaido acts like he was on the phone with another friend instead of her. Informing his parents that he's gotta go for a quick errand, Kaido assures them that he'll be back soon. The scene cuts to the dark and abandoned factory, where nearly a dozen armed men are waiting to beat him up. But not just that, the organization's leader has also arrived, while his bodyguard is casually busy working out behind. The man is pissed that Tetsuya bothered to make the call and even slams a can in his face for it. He's trying to keep a low profile, and being called here all of a sudden puts him at great risk for it. Anyway, the scumbag reveals that he's captured Yuzuha in order to execute the organization's order. Apparently they want to interrogate some secret information from her regarding her inheritance. But so far, she hasn't yet cracked, constantly stating that she knows nothing. That's actually the main reason Tetsuya bothered calling her best friend, the same kid who hovers around her all the time, thinking that if they threaten to hurt him, she'll spill the beans. This way, he'll have succeeded in his order, and as his reward, Tetsuya will officially claim his spot in the organization. The organization's leader is fine with that, but warns the blonde of what will happen if he fails his task. You see, Inokami, the muscle freak, isn't one to talk. This man's only orders are to kill, as he demonstrates by chucking a dumbbell so goddamn fast that it tears down a freaking wall. Inokami's mere existence is enough to make the blonde wet his pants, because if he fails, he's gonna be next. Yuzuha roars and makes her position even worse by provoking them, while her assistant tries to calm her down. Unfortunately, that leads to Tetsuya beating his ass, slamming him with his foot, enraged that someone's trying to meddle between the two of them. He tells his underlings to take her assistant aside, and focuses on Yuzuha, assuring her that if she doesn't talk, her childhood friend is going to die. Even then, the helpless girl confirms that she has no idea what he's talking about. Pissed off, Tetsuya orders Kaido to be brought to him at once. Right now, they've got 40 thugs with weapons, and a former wrestling behemoth responsible for killing a man in the ring. With this, there's no way the kid will come out on top. The blonde is damn certain that Kaido won't get past Inokami, and in the end, Yuzuha will end up revealing everything. the perspective shifts to our boy, who finally finds his way to the factory. Outside are a bunch of idiots who are about to become his new victims. Casually walking past them, the boy shows no fear, while one of them quickly recognizes that he's their target. But it's already too late because this man effortlessly dismantles them with a painful strike to the neck, putting them down in an instant. With the 3 men defeated, the rest of the thugs quickly charge ahead, but it's their doomsday as the high schooler mops the floor with them, shoving one of the guys into the bin. With a murderous glare, Kaido warns the thugs not to enter his line of sight if they want to continue living their lives in one piece. And yes, the One Piece is real. Back to Tetsuya, his boss is starting to feel concerned that the kid isn't showing up, even wondering if the boy decided to chicken out. He's a kid after all, but only the blonde scumbag knows that what he fought on the rooftop wasn't a kid, but a demon. He tries to reason with his leader Suo, assuring him that their opponent isn't normal. Speaking of the devil, they hear their men chanting Fujiwara's name just outside the factory. Yuzuha is shocked while the blonde coward is terrified for his life. The door bashes open as a man's body is flung like a paper ball, landing right next to Tetsuya's feet. Excited, the muscle maniac turns to meet his target. Meanwhile, the seemingly harmless boy reminds Tetsuya of his warning from last time. This man is having a hard time holding back his strength just so that he doesn't kill these guys. Mr. Suo is baffled, questioning how one child was able to annihilate 20 thugs all on his own. Casually adjusting his tie for maximum aura, Kaido demands to see his friend. Yuzuha's scream surges throughout the factory, worried that he came for her. Thanks to her voice, he knows that she's exactly 30 meters ahead. He's glad that she's doing okay, and scans his environment for the hostile men ready to attack him. In the span of what appears to be no more than 53 seconds, this man's speed blitzes the hell out of the room, shocking the boss with his godlike ability as he takes down every man around. Even Tetsuya is crawling like a little bitch, realizing that they fudged around and found out the hard way. The fear of death looms over him as our boy grabs Tetsuya before locking a fist, promising to make him suffer quite a bit. In the next few moments, this man throws lightning-fast punches, precisely shattering Tetsuya's clavicles, his lower ribs and elbows. As if that excruciating pain wasn't enough, the dude slams him into the nearest wall with a simple push. Mr. Suo's men are all terrified and absolutely don't want to get smoked by our boy. They want to make a run for it, but he reminds them he's paying them for the job. Suo is starting to realize the true level of danger they're dealing with. Their target isn't a helpless boy, but a monster. Thanks to being blindfolded, Yuzuha hasn't seen a thing. He goes up to her and assures her that everything is going to be all right. Right as our boy is about to untie her ropes, the behemoth shoves his fist to slam him. The attack connects in a heavy blow, while Yuzuha screams in panic. Suo thinks that they might actually have a chance of victory thanks to the former pro wrestler's monstrous physique. But unfortunately for him, when the dust settles, it's revealed that the punch didn't connect at all. In fact, Kaido has even launched a counter kick against his opponent, stopping him in place. The maniacal wrestler doesn't care and prepares another attack, but it's also redirected by Kaido, who goes on to hammer a devastating punch in his face. The punch is so brutal that it shatters his nose, and even then the wrestler thinks that Kaido won't be able to defeat him with such strength. Having exchanged a few blows with this guy, the assassin internalizes that he's dealing with the strongest of the bunch, and because of his current physique of a high schooler, it's hard for him to one-shot this guy like he normally would. So instead, he goes for a different measure. Right as the wrestler is about to strike him down, our boy becomes the Flash and teleports out of his sight, setting his target to be Inugami's ribs. From then on, Kaido unleashes a heavy barrage of hits, all concentrating on a singular point, kneeing him and punching him until the musclehead experiences terror and is knocked out. Call him David for slaying the Goliath. Seeing their insane wrestler getting folded like that, the remaining 6 men run the heck away, which is probably the smartest decision they've made. Though normally Kaido would finish his targets off, right now he's got to worry about Yuzuha. He quickly undoes her ropes and puts on a happy face, expressing his satisfaction to see her doing okay. He assures Yuzuha that the situation is under control, and that Kawai, her assistant, is also going to be fine. Of course, this kind of traumatizing situation isn't normal for a girl like her, which makes Kaido wonder if she's afraid. But hilariously, she grabs his tie and instead of thanking him, goes ballistic on his ass for taking the worst route imaginable. You see, he could have easily called the police to resolve this situation or consulted adults, but instead bro had to make a movie entrance and solo 40 men all on his own. Still, Yuzuha offers her gratitude that he went so far as to protect her, but it pains her every time he puts himself in danger like that. Her current state is once again reminiscent of Mirai, who always told Tuji to return home, always worrying that she'll lose him someday. Kaido levels with her and promises his friend that from now on, he's never going to make her worry again. Their mellow moment is interrupted by the groans of Kawai, the poor guy who got beat up for no reason. Kaido hears the sound of police sirens and realizes the cops are here, emphasizing that it's time for them to return home. Over to a different side, Suo barely managed to escape, unable to comprehend how not even the musclehead was able to stop the monstrous child. Apparently, this guy also has his own boss, who seems to be some kind of kingpin of underground crime. This terrifying boss reveals that he sent a Lancelot to deal with the kid. Now that the boy has messed with the Great Will Organization's plans, he's going to pay for it. But before that happens, let's return to our boy's side of things. He's back at home resting on his bed, knowing that he made his parents worry by going on his own like that. While they're sleeping soundly, Kaido remembers how worried his parents were upon his return. Thankfully, the police didn't hold him down for any questioning because of his lack of involvement. As for the thugs, their mission and ultimate goal is still ambiguous in his eyes. Then there's the fact that the man in charge, Suo, also disappeared after the scene. From the looks of things, he thinks that there's something even worse looming in the shadows. As he jogs outside, he internalizes how he doesn't want anyone around him to get hurt anymore. Suddenly, a bunch of projectiles are shot at him, causing him to jump right into the air. The man who shot them is actually baffled that the boy managed to avoid them. By the way, Kaido already knew someone was following him home, which is exactly why he came out here in the first place, giving the spy an easy target. Turning to the guy, Kaido questions his motives. The creepy bastard is impressed that the boy managed to notice him even in his bedroom. It's the first time he's been figured out like that, and with this, it's confirmed that this kid isn't just any normal brat. Giving credit where credit is due, Kaido praises the spy for covering his tracks and being on a completely different level from the thugs he faced at the factory. From those two facts alone, it can be said that this guy doesn't belong to the workings of a normal society, which begs the question of why he was spying on him in the first place. Kaido's stalker is rather impressed, and thinks that the young kid also shares some connections to his line of work. But our boy keeps it simple and maintains his identity of an ordinary high schooler. Refusing to entertain any more small talk, the man prepares his blades for their ultimate showdown. The scene is familiar to our protagonist, who recalls his previous life. The assassin before him officially declares the end of Fujiwara Kaido. This same man is called Sanjo of the Great Will Organization, ranked number 67. Getting into fighting stance, Kaido reflects that he too was once a member of the same organization. Let's visit the headquarters of the Great Will Organization. The council member Akatsuki is frustrated that even after kidnapping Yuzuha, they were unable to obtain any leads. Akatsuki thinks that they should have deployed a lance for the mission from the very start to get things over with. Let's zoom out and focus on the significance of this organization. This group is capable of overthrowing the world into chaos thanks to having 1,000 assassins under its wings. Among them, the top 100 assassins are considered the elites and given the title of Lance. Each Lance is so reliable that they have a near enough 100% success rate for each job. Among other things, Minami and Akatsuki are the same. Minami reveals that they're searching for a specific treasure that will shift the balance of the world. That treasure is called Fenrir's Seed, and Yuzuha is supposedly the current owner of that sacred treasure, though they don't have any evidence to conclude such a thing. Yashima reveals that he's already sent Sanju for the job. The revelation shocks them, because before using a lance, one requires the permission of Odin. But that's the thing. Yashima has already acquired such permission. First off, they know that Yuzuha's bodyguard is trash, so there's no way it could have been him, concluding that there is more to the situation than they understand. He deems their enemies a threat, and therefore wants to eliminate them at the hands of the lances. That brings us to the scene of the fight, where Kaido realizes that he's dealing with someone from the same organization. The stance Sanju is using is perfected and difficult to read, signifying his elite status as a lance. This also confirms our boy's worst suspicions, that everything surrounding Yuzuha's troubles is actually being controlled by the organization in the background. It's not a case of a simple inheritance loot, but something greater. Sanju quickly observes the boy's stance and remarks that he isn't a high schooler at all. The kid is fearless and feels natural when a weapon is pointed at him. Sensing danger, Kaido deems him a threat for Yuzuha and lunges forth to strike him down. The first few punches are casually evaded by the expert assassin, who reflects that the kid is incredibly fast and accurately aiming for his weak points. From this angle, it really seems like Kaido is an assassin of his own class. However, Sanju isn't a joke. This man nearly stabs him in the face, causing our boy to maintain his distance. From their brief encounter, Kaido has learned a bit about his opponent's specialized fighting style. Sanju is a fighter who prioritizes his range to his advantage. The assassin is impressed by the kid's skills and decides to go on the offensive by lunging right into the air. The tables have turned, and though he goes for a butterfly slash at first, the assassin quickly rewires himself into a different stance in an effort to overwhelm our boy. Sanju is genuinely pleased to find his opponent dodging like an expert. Meanwhile, our boy is starting to realize that he's far behind when it comes to strength and speed. There's only one way to defeat an opponent like this guy, and that is to scan his environment. While the elite lance is going heavy on the offensive, he thinks that he's finally achieved an opening to strike. But much to his shock, when nails the final blow, Kaido casually slips out of his jacket before stabbing his neck with a precise swing. Surprisingly, the lance managed to evade it just in time and retaliated with a swing of his own. The slash ends up cutting Kaido, Blood drips down, and the realization sets in that he's dealing with a powerful lance. He's realizing his own limitations for having a weaker and untrained physique, while the lance is rather impressed by the boy's attempt to trap him. He talks about how Kaido's perfected movements showcase that he's easily a professional in combat, except the only thing he lacks is pure killing intent. The only order he received was to assassinate a high school student, but now it makes sense to him why a lance was given such a job. Sanju reveals that he's a threat to the organization's intentions with Yuzuha, which is why he must be assassinated at once. Thanks to his own confession, Kaido is now certain that the organization is connected to everything. Deciding to switch his mode of fighting, the assassin decides to activate his combat mode, striking a cool-ass pose. He won't be holding anything back, promising to show the true fragment of his killing intent. Sanju lunges forth with his batshit crazy dragon dance form, which is essentially hundreds of blade strikes hurling at our boy. The lance has become mindless in his pursuit and literally skins down a tree with ease. Meanwhile, Kaido finds himself a safe spot to hide, realizing that he's dealing with someone way beyond the level of a normal assassin. The crazy fucker tornado slices his cover, unleashing a geyser of water. Having suffered another cut on his body, Kaido realizes that he's dealing with an S-class user on top of a lance. His endless slashes are so incredibly difficult to deal with that not even our boy can get out unscathed. Sanju goes ballistic and accuses the high schooler for being a killer too, wondering if it's fine if Yuzuha is killed as collateral. And well, that's where this man fucked up, because that line alone triggers Kaido's traumatic flashback sequence, except this time, the face of his girlfriend is replaced with the one of his friend. Pissed off, he lunges forth to tackle the assassin head-on, smashing the blade right out of his hand, grabbing it, and then speed blitzing a sharp cut right across his shoulder. It all happens so fast that not even an expert lance is able to perceive what went wrong. All he can think about is what kind of monstrous kid he's dealing with. Our boy refuses to experience the guilt and suffering that he did last time, which is why he promises to protect Yuzuha with his life. The lance thinks it's pointless to resist his fate as he's going to die by the will of God. Bro is a shoulder down and still wants to fight. His endless slashes are useless from now on, because Kaido is expertly matching each attack like a seasoned professional. Accusing the high schooler for being a coward, Sanju leaves himself wide open during one of his attacks. Reminding him of his place, Kaido goes right behind him, painfully slashing his thigh and belittling the pro-assassin for being so loud. Reduced to such a state, Sanju can't help but question how this guy got so fast all of a sudden. Reusing the same tactics like last time, he tries to overwhelm our boy. It ends in disaster for him, because Kaido leaves a bunch of cuts right around his left arm, revealing that there's no point anymore as he's already read all of his moves. In his next attack, Kaido burst with incredible speeds, becoming a Beyblade and slashing all his way to Sanju's body. Donning his murderous glare, he deems the end of the lance, who is still out here questioning how one could master such swift knife work and such godlike speed. The way he's fighting reminds him of the wrath of Gungnir, the #1 assassin among their ranks. Kaito brutally rips this guy's body until he's left gushing out a pool of blood. The fight is over with Sanju realizing just how outclassed he was right from the beginning. As he's panting heavily, the lance trembles in fear, sensing that he can't even move a muscle anymore because the tendons in his arms have been severed. But our boy is kind enough to leave at least one leg for him to get by. As for the rest, the killing machine assures him that his career as a lance is finished, and that he won't be able to kill anyone anymore. Ruthlessly, Kaito remarks that in this way, the assassin will lose the only part of his identity that he treasures the most. It's a fate worse than death because these people can't even blend in normal society. But before leaving this guy alone, the boy declares his 2 questions, promising to painfully cut his other leg if he refuses to answer. For his first question, he wants to know the name of the man who issued the order, and why specifically they're targeting the girl. Giggling like a fool, Sanju reveals that he's not going to talk even if he tortures him and kills him as he has sworn loyalty to his one and only God, and that he'll never betray his will. The mention of God confirms everything for Kaito, but unfortunately sirens start buzzing all around. Sanju's recklessness has attracted the cops. In that brief window, the guy manages to use his only leg to escape. He recommends the kid to get out too before he's caught. Before leaving, Sanju wonders if the boy really wants to be an ordinary high school student. That question floods him down memory lane, because Kaito remembers how everyone around him thought he can't experience a normal life, simply because he's lived his life as a cold-blooded assassin. Even now, as he's covered in blood, the thought clings to him. Is he really normal? Can he even be considered a high school student? That question is yet to be answered, but we shift to the headquarters where Yashima learns about Sanju's update. Izumo reports that the lance has been effectively dismantled to the point he can't even continue working anymore. Akatsuki is out here amazed by Kaito's abilities to take down an expert assassin, beaming with excitement. Izumo confirms that whoever it was a monster, because Sanju described the guy's movements to be similar to Gungnir, a name that draws attention among them all. Even Akatsuki thinks it's an overestimation to say that, to compare this guy to the strongest knife user to ever live. Izumo understands their frustration, especially when Gungnir's name isn't tossed around lightly. Minami breaks their confrontation while Akatsuki whines about the significance and specialty of Tuji. Regardless, they think that this random bodyguard of Yuzuha has proven himself to be considerably powerful. Not only did he disrupt their plans, but he also dismantled a lance-level opponent. With this development, Yashima and the others can no longer wait around. The whole thing leaves Yashima questioning the mystery behind Kaito Fujiwara. Speaking of our boy, he goes back to his room and patches himself up in secrecy. He's having a bit of an identity crisis, knowing that he's supposed to be an ordinary high schooler instead of an assassin like he used to be. Unfortunately, he has to help Yuzuha escape the sights of the organization. And then there's the fact that they'll target him even more now that he's defeated a lance. With a body like this, he'll be at a loss, so Kaito intends to put in the work and get strong again. If he has to preserve this peaceful life, then he has to do everything in his path to ensure it stays safe. As for the Great Will organization, Akatsuki volunteers and expresses great interest in taking the mystery man on as his target. They're surprised, but Izumo thinks it's a great idea for a threat of this level. After all, if this guy really does compare to the likes of Tuji, an ordinary lance won't cut it. A curious Akatsuki is all the more happy to use his position to take care of the threat. By the way, this dude is no joke. He's ranked 9th overall and is one of the greatest assassins around. After a day passes since Yuzuha's kidnapping, Kaito's parents and the girl give him a big welcome home party to celebrate his discharge from the hospital. To show his love, his father presents the omuris he worked really hard to make, though that is a little hard to believe because the dish looks pretty cursed. After that, Yuzuha says she made something extra special for him as well, as she places a plate of mouth-watering beef stew in front of him. With a proud grin, she tells him to dig into her masterpiece while it is hot, and the moment it hits his taste buds, our boy instantly gets a flashback of the past to when he was leaving the house and Mirai asked if he would be out late once again. However, that time he told her he would be home in time for dinner because he only needed to meet someone and pick up a thing or two, giving no clue about his actual work. Mirai was really glad to hear that because she was making his favorite beef stew that day, and that made him very happy. Then, he told her with passionate eyes that he would share something important with her when he got back before he left, and she bid him farewell with her precious smile and a smiling Johnny boy in her arms. While eating the beef stew, Kaito becomes sad that he never got to tell her he was quitting his life as an assassin to be with her. Yuzuha gets annoyed seeing his disappointment and asks if it really tasted that bad, but our boy suddenly starts downing her cooking like it is his last meal on Earth. Nearly tearing up, he tells her it tastes delicious. Yuzuha is glad to hear that, and his mother tells him there is a lot more where that came from if he has a big appetite. As he watches his father set the pan on fire and Yuzuha smiling with the cake and enjoying herself, our hero is grateful from the bottom of his heart to have such a loving family. Later he walks Yuzuha back home because things have gotten more dangerous recently. He asks her if she noticed anything unusual happen around her since then, but she tells him she has police all around her house so she should be safe at the moment. Confused, Kaito asks her why her butler is not with her, and she says she personally requested him to stay away because he is so annoying it is impossible to have fun with him anywhere around. Anyway, she lets him know she had a lot of fun at his house, admitting it has been a very long time since she got to laugh so much again. Her expression quickly turns serious as she confesses she has been feeling pretty down ever since she lost her father. Hearing that, our boy is completely speechless, and Yuzuha realizes she did not tell him about that yet because she did not want to make his amnesia worse with such stressful news. She says it happened around 2 months ago at the same time as the car accident that sent him into a coma. Kaito realizes that is why she was so emotional about losing him as well back then. But she stayed strong and never let her sad feelings show by covering them up with her cheerful personality instead. Our boy apologizes to her for making her worry, but Yuzuha tells him it is no big deal and points out he has not changed a bit, surprising him. Then, she thinks that he did mature a little, but even when he was a small kid, he had the habit of being reckless and fighting kids much bigger than him whenever they bullied Yuzuha, even though he always knew he could not win. Just like that, he came for her when she got kidnapped, but she couldn't see his amazing moves because she was blindfolded. Yuzuha becomes suspicious and asks him how exactly he saved her. Our boy dodges the bullet saying that everyone who saw him got so scared, which technically did happen after he destroyed their comrades like a monster, making Yuzuha doubt even more. Still, she thinks that it does not matter as long as he is brave enough to come for her in a pinch. Yuzuha confesses she was scared out of her mind when the gangsters were threatening her and Kawai, but when she saw his face glowing brighter than the morning sun, she was genuinely happy. For that, she thanks him. And being smooth as he is, our boy tells her he will save her no matter how many times she needs him, making her redder than a ripe tomato. After that, the flustered girl yells at him to get in close and pulls out her phone to take a cute selfie with him. Proud of the good shot, she says she will make it her wallpaper so she remembers the amazing day, not realizing it might start weird rumors at school. However, Yuzuha mumbles it will also help her move on, and seeing Kaido able to worry about her so soon after his life-changing accident, she is inspired to finally stop clinging to her dad's unexpected death. Our boy smiles as he realizes Yuzuha is struggling just like him, and that motivates him to protect his precious childhood friend even more. Right then, he is shocked when she pulls out her phone and shows him the picture of her dad. His soul nearly exits his body when he recognizes who her father is, and he confirms if the man really is her father, to which she replies his amnesia must be serious, because her dad was always so kind to him. With a serious expression, she mentions that a lot of people around her badmouthed her father, but he was always nice to her, and that is why she loved him from the bottom of her heart. Looking at the picture of Yuzuha's father carrying her on his back, Kaido recalls seeing the exact same wallpaper before when he finished his final mission. It hurts every fiber of his soul as he realizes he was the one who stole Yuzuha's father away from her. Seeing how sad he is, Yuzuha asks him why he got so quiet all of a sudden, while Kaido processes everything, standing before the Akagi group chairman's daughter, the man he assassinated in cold blood. He tries to rationalize, thinking that Hayate was the one who pulled the trigger and he would not have taken the mission if he knew he was her dad. But he feels guilty because he blindly followed the Great Will's words that Chairman Akagi betrayed the organization, so he must be eliminated. He feels even worse because he did not feel a thing back then, and now he has put Yuzuha in danger as well, so he considers telling her that he was once an agent of the organization who ordered her father's death. He grits his teeth in deep frustration, still unable to make a final decision. The next day at school, he quietly sits at his desk while all the girls in class chat loudly about the new transfer student coming, hoping it is a hot guy. In the end, our boy decides not to tell Yuzuha, because the organization will not stop coming after him just because he put a single lance out of commission, so his only real choice is to keep protecting her at all costs. Just then, the teacher announces that a new transfer student has arrived, and when the boy asks for permission to enter, our hero instantly recognizes his voice, staring in disbelief. Taking one look at the pink-haired, cheerful boy, he wonders what one of the divine spears could possibly be doing at his school. Remembering the last psycho who came after him, his suspicion is confirmed that the Great Will sent this one as a direct response to his interference with Yuzuha's kidnapping. Suddenly, the boy turns to our hero and pierces his very soul with a cold, unblinking stare, openly declaring who his intended target is. There is no doubt at all that the pink-haired brat is Akatsuki, one of the organization's 12 divine spears, codenamed Bident. Sometime later, during the PE lesson, the crowd goes wild for their new transfer student as he casually manages to score yet another basket. The girls are head over heels for the pink-haired boy while his teammate is genuinely surprised that he manages to jump so high despite his short height. Makoto plays it off by saying it was a great pass and motivates his team to get another hoop in, while the opponent team gets irritated that the transfer student is already stupidly popular with the ladies. Meanwhile, Kaido does not let his guard down at all as he finds it odd that the lance has still not made a single move and wonders what on earth he is even planning. You see, the lances are an elite group of the top 100 assassins who are each assigned numbers, and out of them, the top 12 are known as the legendary spears, who are commanded by their supreme leader Odin. Each of these insanely overpowered assassins has extraordinary abilities that rival 1,000 men. When it comes to assassinations, these people can easily trample over the army of an entire nation. These elite warriors are only deployed for the most critical missions, which makes Kaido come to the conclusion that it can only mean they are hell-bent on targeting Yuzuha. Kaito looks down in sadness as the painful memories from his last mission hit him, and he figures that the assassins must be after the secret treasure that the chairman has supposedly stolen from them. It keeps bothering him that if Akatsuki decides to act at this school, can he really protect the lives of everyone here, including his childhood friend, with his current body of a high schooler? Sometime later, everyone returns to their classroom, but the students still do not stop fangirling over Makoto and keep begging him to join them for karaoke. He is an instant hit with the ladies, who start crushing on him even harder once he reveals that he practiced a bit of basketball back in the United States. Meanwhile, our hero watches the situation from a distance and realizes Akatsuki is not making his move today, and he makes a mental note to stay on full guard tomorrow. Just then, he hears Yuzuha call out to him and ask if he can go somewhere with her after school. Our boy instantly rejects her offer without even hearing her out, insisting she should just go straight home for the day. However, out of nowhere, a hand rests on his shoulder, and Makoto appears from behind to greet the girl cheerfully by her name, which instantly sets off all sorts of red flags for Kaido that he is seriously after Yuzuha. Makoto introduces himself, but Yuzuha points out he is already quite famous as the hot new guy all over the school, and she asks how he even knows her name since they have never actually met. The cheerful transfer student tells her with a carefree smile that she is the high school girl who inherited the Akagi group fortune, which completely catches her off guard. She suddenly gets a bit depressed while Makoto continues, saying his father is indebted to the chairman, so he was instructed to look after her, but when he tries to invite her somewhere, our boy suddenly cuts in, and makes an excuse that he hurt his finger during practice and actually needs to go to the nurse. Our boy gives him a cold death stare, which convinces him to play along, and the two boys part ways with Yuzuha. She looks back with a smile and thanks Kaido for protecting her from weirdos once again. A few moments later, as the two are standing on the rooftop, Makoto admires the view and goes on about how wonderful the prime time of a high schooler's youth is. He then looks back at Kaido and jokingly asks if he brought him here to confess his love or something, but our boy keeps giving him the silent treatment. Makoto simply laughs it off and continues that Yuzuha is honestly quite cute up close in person, but says he cannot believe that she is the chairman's daughter. Kaido gets straight to the point and demands to know what his goal for coming here really is, wondering if it is revenge for the purple-haired guy. The transfer student looks as unbothered as ever and casually asks if he is actually the one who took out Sanjo. He starts analyzing his physique and finds it surprising that he managed to win against Sanjo with only a couple of minor injuries, but our hero repeats his question again, becoming visibly more annoyed by the second. The assassin finally drops his innocent act and admits that he wants to get his hands on the secret treasure that Yuzuha inherited from her father, which fully confirms our boy's suspicions. Akatsuki continues that they do not even know what it actually is and just want information for now. He offers our hero a chance to join their organization since he is stronger than some of their assassins. The boy adds that they only target bad guys, make good money, and Yuzuha might even give the location of the secret treasure to him since he is close to her. Akatsuki gives him a nasty smile and warns Kaido that it is a very good offer since both he and the girl might actually manage to survive after encountering the organization this way. He then walks to the edge of the roof and holds out his hand, warning Kaido that if he resists, innocent kids are going to get hurt. Our hero refuses to let that slide, and immediately dashes forward toward the assassin as he launches a barrage of quick attacks. Makoto manages to dodge each one with ease and compliments Kaido that he can rival a pro with his swift moves. Just then, our hero manages to grab onto his arm as he reveals that he knew the assassin would try to use bombs. The tiny cube is his unique assassin item, with which he combines explosives and martial arts that are well known in the organization as Biden's default method to annihilate his targets. The mention of his codename catches the assassin completely by surprise as he jumps back and yells that Kaido has way too much knowledge for an ordinary person. Makoto then holds out 6 more bombs in his hands as he smiles like a lunatic and states that he is about to raise the levels. With determination in his eyes, he jumps around the roof and tries to catch the bombs. He manages to grab the first 3 and quickly rushes toward the rest. Our boy then parkours over the wall and uses his feet to catch the other 3. Makoto watches the entire scene unfold and states that there is absolutely nothing normal about Kaido, but then tosses another bomb out of nowhere toward the ground below. Kaido tries desperately to reach it while the assassin taunts him by saying he cannot protect the entire student body like that. Our hero fails to grab the cube as it drops into the field below, while the lunatic in the back snaps his finger and sets the bomb off. Kaido shields his face from the blast as the students below start to panic over the sudden explosion and rush away from the area. Makoto reassures him that he adjusted it to explode before reaching the ground so no one would get hurt, calling it a little bonus for managing to catch 6 of the bombs. Kaido is about to rage, but Makoto cuts him off and holds out even more of the bombs while he asks who he really is and if he will join their ranks. After thinking it over for a moment, our boy answers that he is just a normal high school student and would absolutely never join him. Makoto looks genuinely disappointed by that reply and figures that Kaito will not be convinced unless a few people die, but our boy simply drops one name in response, Gungnir. The mention of that name makes the assassin turn around with a wild look in his eyes, while Kaido calmly states that he was once known as Gungnir. While the school speakers announce an evacuation, Makoto glares down at our boy and gets angry at him for even saying Gungnir's name. But just then he reveals he was only buying time, and before Makoto can process it, school officials arrive on the rooftop to check for any students left behind. The pink-haired punk gives him 3 days to decide whether to join them or not, and warns that he will regret it if he refuses. After that, students get free from the school early because of the explosion, and there is an ongoing chit-chat that no one got hurt from the huge explosion, and Yuzuha asks Kaido why he is not going home. Kaido explains he has something important to do first, and wants her to stay home since the explosion could be another attack aimed at her. Just then, Kawai shouts with passion that safety measures have been increased, and that he has started learning martial arts to protect Yuzuha, yet his over-the-top enthusiasm only leaves her annoyed. Yuzuha asks Kaito to text her if anything happens and he agrees, but once she drives away, he turns back to stare at Makoto as if to let him know he is not fooling anyone. Meanwhile, as Makoto observes our boy, he is positive that Tuji wouldn't let anyone disgrace Gungnir's name. Later on the local train, our boy hopes he has managed to divert Akatsuki's attention away from Yuzuha and toward himself, remembering that although Akatsuki is the youngest of the Divine Spears, his abilities are no joke. Clenching his fist, he thinks about how he has grown used to his new body, but he still has a long way to go before he can take on a divine spear in combat. That thought makes him worry that he might lose if they face off after 3 days. Yet it does nothing to shake his determination to protect Yuzua, even if it means murdering the pink-haired punk. Just then, our boy gets off at Shibuya Station and makes his way to the place where he was first killed. He leaps onto the balcony while questioning why he even came here since Mirai would not be waiting for him. When the door suddenly swings open, he wonders if it could be a trap set by the organization. But despite that, he strolls into the apartment, only to see the crime scene cleaned up while the rest of the place still looks the same. Just then, he hears a noise and snaps into his fighting stance, expecting an assassin, only to be surprised when his dog John stands there wagging his tail. John excitedly woofs as the good boy runs to him, and our hero notices the frisbee clamped in his mouth. The sight pulls him back to the days when he and Mirai would go to the park and play fetch with John, and his eyes grow teary as he realizes the dog still remembers him. Just then, something catches the corner of his eye, and he spots a photo of himself, Mirai, and John together at the beach. It makes him remember the time when they were on a road trip when she told him that, although she never understood the nature of his work, Mirai always wanted him to be happy. He answers that he is satisfied with his life and will die protecting her, but Mirai simply says that a dead man cannot be happy, and she wants him to try living for once. Now weeping like a widow, our hero regrets that he could never make her happy, and that she now exists only in his memories. After that, he returns home and tells his family that a couple had to give up their dog due to difficult circumstances, so he brought it home and wonders if they could keep it. Before he can bargain any further, Taro immediately agrees to adopt the dog, and Kyoto suggests they take turns walking it. When they ask the dog's name, he explains that the last owners called him John. Later, he texts Yuzua to ask if anything has happened yet, and she says things are rather boring. She mentions hearing about his new dog and asks if she can come pet it, but he tells her not to come now, smiling at his phone because he knows what he must do. After that, he calls Akatsuki, who mockingly asks if he has changed his mind since the 3 days are not up yet. But our boy says he is done playing games and is ready to give Akatsuki a beating on the school rooftop before dawn, vowing to end this once and for all because he is Gungnir. After hearing the name Gungnir, Akatsuki becomes so enraged that he smashes the phone in his hand. In his mind, someone like Kaido could never compare to Lord Tuji, who was the very definition of a perfect assassin. Yet despite that, Kaito still dares to claim the name Gungnir right in front of him. 3 years earlier in the Middle East, the two of them were on a dangerous mission together. At one point, Akatsuki made a critical mistake which left him completely surrounded by enemies. His left arm was blown apart, and it was clear he was about to die. Right as he steeled himself for the end, Tuji suddenly appeared and cut down every enemy in the blink of an eye. Akatsuki had thanked him, saying he was only able to make it this far because of his blast, and urged him to return alive, promising to take care of the mission from there. The next morning, the two of them meet on the rooftop. Akatsuki casually asks Kaito what he is thinking, coming here to fight while wearing a school uniform. Kaito replies that he plans to defeat him first, and then attend his classes afterward. Laughing, Akatsuki tells him they both had the exact same idea, and adds that ever since yesterday, he has been thinking about how Kaito's movements were almost the same as Gungnir. He admits he had once wanted to be like him, but now that Kaito has made him feel Gungnir's presence firsthand, he will never forgive him for it, at least not until he blows him into little pieces of roasted flesh. With a smirk, Akatsuki says that he wants to share a little secret before they start fighting. He reveals that he has planted bombs somewhere in the school, and because his left prosthetic arm is directly connected to his brain, he can detonate them instantly with just a movement of his fingers. If Kaito loses to him, then many people will die, and the only way to stop the bloodshed is by severing the connection between his arm and his brain. That leaves only two options to either cut off his arm or destroy his brain. However, Kaito calmly points out that there is a third option. The bombs can also be disarmed if Akatsuki is knocked unconscious. Hearing this, Akatsuki is genuinely surprised, and Kaito explains that he already told him he knows Akatsuki. As Kaito gets ready to fight, he says that he did not come here to kill him, and he only came to stop him. With a confident smile, Kaito asks if Akatsuki truly believes he can pull that off. Then, without warning, he dashes forward and unleashes an attack. Akatsuki manages to dodge it, but our boy notes that his only advantage lies in knowing Akatsuki's tactics and personality, because the physical performance of this body is nowhere near the same level as his own. Akatsuki tosses several bombs into the air, and when they detonate, the blasts aim to destroy his target's eyes and ears. He follows up by swinging a left hook. However, since Kaito already knows all about this tactic, he swiftly dodges and moves in to land a punch to Akatsuki's chest. In midair, Akatsuki shifts his body and evades the strike. Then, he counters with a solid punch, sending Kaito flying through the air. As Kaito steadies himself, Akatsuki says that flying backward to soften the impact was the right call, because a direct hit from his prosthetic arm would have obliterated Kaito's arm completely. With a menacing smile, Akatsuki warns that if Kaido is truly Gungnir, then this is far from the extent of what he can do. The punch already cracked Kaido's ribs, and he realizes that divine spears are not the kind of enemy one can defeat by simply knowing their techniques. Kaido thinks to himself that as a killer, a peaceful life was never meant for him. Yet if he is still alive, there must be a reason for it. No matter who he faces, he will win without killing anyone. He will survive for the sake of everyone who cares about him. With fierce determination, he throws his hardest punch yet, and the two exchange rapid blows, but Kaido suddenly feels a sharp pain in his head. Akatsuki takes advantage of the moment, unleashing a flurry of strikes. Kaido tries to evade them, but he cannot avoid them all. He tells himself he needs to focus more on reading his opponent's movements. Akatsuki lands a heavy kick, sending Kaido skidding backward. With the distance between them widened, Akatsuki hurls another bomb and detonates it. A massive explosion erupts and he rushes in for the finishing strike. But since Kaido knows his every move, he is already prepared. Akatsuki throws a full-force punch, but Kaido blocks it, telling him that he can feel his rage and killing intent, and something like this will not break his will. He will take in all of Akatsuki's anger and swallow it whole. Akatsuki senses that something is off and jumps backward. Meanwhile, Kaido holds his head as his senses become so sharp he can detect not only the physical objects around him, but also the assassin's consciousness. Akatsuki is caught off guard by the sudden change in attitude and wonders what exactly just happened. He thinks that he launched the last attack from Kaido's blind spot, and wonders how the hell the school kid managed to block something like that, as if he already knew exactly where it would come from. He takes out a few more of the bomb cubes and states that things are starting to get more interesting. He bends over with a serious look and says that he does not know what Kaido is thinking, but promises to break through his defenses with the next move. Our boy takes a defensive position and realizes that Akatsuki is on the offense once again. The pink-haired assassin drops one of the bombs behind him and uses the blast to send the other bomb cube flying full speed toward Kaido. A huge explosion occurs, but our boy manages to dodge it by becoming Jin Woo and stepping to the side at the last second, which causes the item to explode right behind him. Akatsuki calls him impressive for managing to dodge his special attack, but he thinks that if our hero could be assassinated that easily, then there would be no point in sending an elite spear like him. But our boy simply gives him the silent treatment and gets ready to take whatever the pink-haired boy can throw at him. Back at his house, John wakes up from the explosion, and so does Kaido's mother, who wonders where the sound is coming from. She wonders if they might be fireworks. Meanwhile, back at the rooftop, the two are still going full force at each other. Still guarding with his fists, Kaido thinks that even though it is impossible to see Akatsuki's hands, our boy can still predict every move because he knows all of his patterns. Akatsuki tenses up as he prepares his next move, but our boy expertly predicts that he is about to throw 4 bombs which are supposed to detonate 2 meters in front of him. Just as the assassin is about to activate them, Kaido kicks them all in multiple directions to spread them out, which covers the whole rooftop in powerful explosions. Kaido manages to stay on his feet as he shields his face from the intense explosions, but then he predicts the assassin's next move and dodges an incoming punch from the left. Our hero returns the attack with a few sharp jabs of his own, which forces Akatsuki to go on the defensive as he starts realizing that something is definitely off about this. He wonders what the hell is going on since he cannot even manage to land a single hit. The assassin thinks that Kaido's eyes and ears should have long been out of commission thanks to the bombs, not to mention the scorching heat that should make it nearly impossible to breathe. However, the look in our boy's eyes makes Akatsuki feel as if he can see through all of his movements, which makes him flash back to the memory of his beloved Gungnir. He recalls when Kaido said he is Gungnir, but that causes him to rage out as he yells at our hero not to screw with him. He demands to know if the high schooler truly is his Tuji, and if that is true, then why the hell he appeared now of all times. On the other hand, Kaido is barely hanging on as he struggles to catch his breath, but still manages to keep his fists up. He realizes that even if he can read the assassin's movements, the boy is still far too fast, and he cannot keep up in this untrained body for much longer. He jumps onto the ledge and makes up his mind to finally stop running away. At the same time, Akatsuki thinks there is nowhere left for the guy to escape. He picks up a handful of the bombs and thinks it does not matter if his moves can be predicted, and dares him to dodge the attack as he throws the bomb cubes toward our hero. Our hero locks in at that very moment and runs forward using every ounce of strength in his body while swearing to himself that he will never make anyone unhappy ever again. Akatsuki activates the bomb and lights up the entire roof like the sun, but Kaido keeps on advancing forward, even though he can no longer see. He senses the assassin in front of him and goes in for a strike, but Akatsuki manages to dodge it and uses the bomb cube in his metal hand as he throws a knuckle sandwich straight for our boy's head. However, Kaido reads him like a book, blocking the punch with his elbow which catches him completely off guard and follows the block with a devastating elbow straight to the face. But he does not stop there. He yells Akatsuki's name and follows with a savage punch to the body, then finishes him off with a kick straight to his gut. The blow shatters his metal arm and sends the assassin flying over the roof's edge, and he falls unconscious as his body approaches the hard, unwelcoming concrete below. The scene then shifts to a flashback where the young assassin tells Gungnir to forget about him and get out of danger, but our hero tells him that he does not want even a single one of his friends to die. Gungnir figures that this sort of mindset does not suit an assassin, but that is exactly why he made the choice. No matter how big the opponent is, he is going to pursue his own sense of justice. Akatsuki finally wakes up and asks Kaido why he saved him, and he replies that his only priority was to disarm the bomb, and he never thought of unaliving him in the first place. The assassin smirks and tells him that he cannot beat the whole organization alone, but Kaido stays firm that he will no matter what, because that is the only sense of justice he can have as a former assassin. The familiar words and look catch Akatsuki by surprise, reminding him of Gungnir, while Kaido states that no matter if it is the Great Will or Odin, he promises to defeat them all. That statement causes Akatsuki to burst into laughter. He repeats Kaido's words and calls him insane to even think of such a thing. To Kaido's surprise, the assassin believes him that he really is Tuji no Cap. The boy smiles and says that only someone insane like Tuji could say something as wild as that, while our hero just looks at him in surprise. The pink-haired boy then gets to the main topic at hand and asks him why he looks like a toothpick when he should be lying 6 feet deep underground. Kaido replies that he was also sure he died back then, but when he woke up, he was suddenly in Kaido's body. He points to his brain and says that for now, it is all that remains of Tuji, which makes Akatsuki sit up in genuine surprise. Our hero continues that the one who gave the order for the hit can only be Odin, which completely drains the color from Akatsuki's face. Kaido then tells him that he definitely needs to get stronger, and asks Akatsuki if he will lend him his help, which makes the assassin flash back to that scene again. Akatsuki laughs once more and tells him to stop kidding already. He picks up his metal arm and says he cannot kill him no matter who orders him now that he knows for sure Kaito is Tuji. Our hero asks if he is going back to the organization, but the assassin straight up denies it and says that going back after such a loss is impossible. He then asks the kid what he plans to do now, and Akatsuki gets serious, saying that he will decide after he has looked into everything for a while, since he still finds it impossible to believe that Odin would target Tuji. He tells our hero to get going too since the police are probably on the way, and jokes that school will likely be closed for quite some time. Our hero watches him walk off and begins to call out to him, but all of a sudden he collapses onto the ground. He wonders what the hell just happened, as he feels his mind slipping away. Meanwhile, some unknown assassins walk into the scene and proceed to retrieve Gungnir as planned. A voice starts calling to our hero, telling him to wake up already, and he wonders where the voice is coming from. His eyes finally open as he looks around, wondering where he even is, and he realizes that he is back in his original body. The voice then says again that he has finally woken up and tells him that they are both a part of one another now. Kaido slowly floats toward him, which makes Tuji's eyes go wide in surprise. Kaido calls out to him again and tells him to protect Yuzuha with that power, but Tuji refuses to let go as he shouts for the boy and reaches out to him. Right then, he wakes up soaked in cold sweat and is greeted by a friendly canine face. While lying on the ground, he wonders where he even is now. While downstairs, the parents are watching the news, which reports another explosion at the school. Both are extremely worried about the bomb blast, and Kyoto asks if they should take Kaido to the hospital as she reads his messages, which say he came home early and went to sleep because he felt dizzy. The father asks if she is worrying too much and says Kaido is probably just exhausted from everything that has happened, and reassures her that their son will be fine once he gets some rest. Meanwhile, Kaido stares at the ceiling while thinking that his head still feels fuzzy and realizes that he has slept for half a day. He remembers getting dizzy on the rooftop, then waking up in his room with his wounds already treated. He recalls that Akatsuki finally believed he is Tuji, yet he wonders if he showed enough strength in this weak body to truly convince him. That incredible feeling earlier was as if Akatsuki's emotions were flowing into him, and without that, there was a high chance he would have died. He still wonders what happened to his body, but then his phone rings. When he sees that it is Yuzuha, he quickly answers and yells to ask if she is alright, which surprises her. She immediately flips the question on him since he ignored all her messages since morning. He apologizes and says he had been asleep until now, and that he is just glad she is safe. She then tells him about the explosion at school that blew the roof away and that classes are now cancelled for a week, which he pretends to know nothing about. She realizes something is off and asks Kato if he is involved in this again, which makes him break out in a cold sweat. She then starts scolding him and says he is always getting into trouble, and even asks if, instead of getting sick, he actually got hurt in the school explosion. Kaido sits up and thinks this girl is as sharp as ever. He turns the question back on her and asks if she has been in danger too, and then tells her not to worry anymore because he has decided that no matter what happens, he will protect her. Yuzuha turns redder than a tomato and demands to know what has gotten into him, and tells him not to distract her with cool hero talk. She keeps talking while downstairs Kaido's mom answers the doorbell, yet finds no one there and instead sees a package on the ground. Soon after, There is a knock on Kaito's door, and his mother asks if he is awake and says there is a package for him, which she leaves in the hallway. Kaito finds it suspicious, since he did not order anything, and his mom tells him to come for dinner if he is feeling fine, while Yuzuha notices it is late and says goodbye. Kaito picks up the box and weighs it in his hand as he senses no traps, but when he opens it, his eyes widen in shock as he spots his original assassin knife along with a card. He wonders who could have sent this to his house. When he picks up the card, he sees a set of coordinates and tells himself that he must meet the sender no matter what. Our hero wanders through Shinjuku, following the location coordinates written on the note that came with his knife, and notices that although the place is close to the station, the foot traffic drops sharply. This makes him wonder if the sender of the note might be hiding somewhere like this, and he questions whether it could be the person who transplanted his brain, theorizing that it must be Kaito. Eventually, he arrives at an apartment complex and immediately senses that it would make the perfect hideout. He steps into the lobby, but after finding it empty, he moves ahead. He finally stumbles upon an entrance to a lower level and quickly suspects it to be a trap from the person who sent the knife. When he finally reaches the basement parking area, he opens the door and strolls forward, wondering why he was called to this place when suddenly he barely manages to dodge a sneak attack. Spotting an arrow behind him, he sees the person holding the crossbow reveal himself alongside a female accomplice, and she remarks that dodging the arrow could not have been a fluke, since the real Gungnir would even be able to dodge bullets. She then comments that our guy's brain appears to be working great, and our guy, who doesn't recognize them, asks if they are the ones who called him there, but the crossbow wielder says he is not worthy of getting answers and loads another arrow. He shoots it, saying that the hero must prove himself by defeating them. Our boy dodges it in the nick of time and catches sight of a pair of glowing eyes glaring at them from behind. The girl swings her elbow, but he glides out of range just in time, making her strike the pillar instead. Meanwhile, he quickly gauges that the duo has the capability of a mid-level lance, and as she launches another strike, he deflects her punches while noticing that they are using an old organization tactic of creating an opening using a crossbow and ending it with close-quarter combat. Just then, the other guy swings a hook from behind, but our boy pivots and moves in for a double strike, landing an uppercut to the girl's stomach and a roundhouse kick to the man's chin. The impact sends the girl flying while the man staggers back, wondering what kind of force hit him, before he jolts forward to try again. Our guy spots the moves coming from a mile away, just like in the last fight, and predicts that the opponent will open with a 4-strike combo, starting with a left downward slash. So before it even begins, he realizes he doesn't need to dodge, so he blocks the first blow and drives a jab into his chest. As the fight continues, his abilities of spatial awareness, reaction speed, and action prediction accelerate dramatically, and he completely overwhelms the two assassins. The woman quickly realizes that they were not defeated by some child, but by the strongest killer among them known as Gungnir. Just then, the crossbow man laughs and compliments that the hero isn't bad, but says he is done playing, and reaches into his pocket before his partner yells at him to stop because it goes against their orders. But he shouts back that he cannot end it after being humiliated like this. Suddenly, a third voice tells him to stop, and a familiar figure steps into view, greeting our boy Tuji and remarking that his brain transplant was a success. Our guy instantly recognizes him as the organization's doctor, Kyosuke Kuji, and accuses him of being behind the entire brain transplant and links him to the organization. But the doctor tells him to calm down, explaining that although he was the one who called him there, he was not the one who carried out the brain surgery. He adds that he also has left the Great Will organization and promises to tell him everything that happened on the day he died. Completely confused, our boy turns to Kuji and asks who he is. Kuji replies that he will explain everything and tells Kaito that there was an order to kill him, and the one who carried it out was none other than his partner, Hayate. At the mention of that name, our hero's expression quickly shifts to anger. Next, Kuji explains that the order was highly confidential, known only to a select few, and he was one of them. He says that he leaked all the information which allowed Kaito's brain to be recovered before it was hidden away from the organization. Hearing that, Kaito asks if that means Kuji betrayed the organization, and then he demands to know about the other two. Kuji answers that they are members of Agros, a special unit operating under the direct command of the Japanese government. The sole purpose of this unit is to annihilate the Great Will organization. He adds that they are more commonly known as Argos, and they are the ones who transplanted Tuji's brain into Kaito's body. At that, Tuji grows visibly irritated upon learning his brain was handled by the Japanese government. Raoul comments it was his job as a public servant, while Reika politely says she is pleased to meet him. She then explains that the government views the Great Will organization as its greatest threat. Raoul adds that Tuji's brain was preserved solely because they needed his help. Meanwhile, Kaito struggles to process everything he has just heard. Kuji tells him that they had originally been monitoring the progress of his brain transplant, and they were relieved they did not have to kill him. But given the situation back then, his death had seemed inevitable. Hearing that, our boy asks them, if they knew he was going to be assassinated, then they must have also known that Mirai was in danger. He gives a cold-blooded stare, and it is so sharp that Rika gets scared. Raoul quickly says that they have no idea about it, claiming they were not even present at the time. As his head begins to throb, our boy grabs it with one hand and asks if the strange power that lets him sense killing intent is also a side effect of the brain transplant. But before anyone can respond, he suddenly collapses to the ground unconscious, leaving everyone frozen in confusion about what to do. While the others are concerned, Kuji seems more intrigued by the mysterious ability he just mentioned. Back at the Great Will organization, Hashima asks Izumi if Akatsuki has reported anything, and Izumi replies that there has been no contact at all, and Akatsuki has even cut off every form of communication. Izumi admits that Akatsuki was always difficult to deal with, but he knows that the 12 divine spears are allowed to do whatever they please, so long as they do not defy Odin. Hashima then asks if he believes it is possible for a member of the 12 divine spears to be defeated, but Izumi scoffs at his question, saying it is rare to hear a joke from him. He comments that unless they are dealing with Gungnir's ghost, he cannot imagine Akatsuki losing to anyone else. Hashima agrees that Gungnir's strength was monstrous, but he reminds him that the man is already dead, and his body was disposed of long ago. Still, Izumi mentions there are rumors that Argos may have discovered something related to that. Both men agree that if there truly is a spy among them, they need to act swiftly before the situation worsens. Fueled by anger, Hashima states that they must eliminate Argos first before turning their attention toward the seat of Fenrir, and Izumi firmly agrees. At the same time, our boy once again finds himself inside the mind realm and quickly recognizes it as the place he has been to before. Kaito appears before him and explains that this is the place where their minds have merged. At that moment, Tuji confirms that he now understands Kaito's identity and asks if this strange space is his power. Kaito tells him that he will be able to use it in its truest sense, as long as he learns to trust his own instincts. Tuji wakes up and notices the situation feels strangely similar to the one after his fight with Akatsuki, where he also collapsed from headaches and dizziness, only to awaken with Kaito's consciousness present. Sitting nearby, Kuji tells him that they are currently inside one of his hideouts, which connects directly to the parking garage they were in earlier. He then explains that it has been exactly 1 hour and 50 minutes since Tuji collapsed until he finally woke up. He also ran several tests on Tuji's brain while he was unconscious, confirming there was no issue with the neural connections. However, the brain activity is operating far beyond the normal range, and it spikes even more during combat. According to Kuji, the killing intent Tuji senses is likely caused by this heightened brain activity. While he admits that having an expert's opinion would be ideal, but for now he can say with certainty that the condition is extremely dangerous. Kuji warns him that the overload has already caused him to be in a coma for hours at a time, and if this continues unchecked for too long, the strain will become fatal. Our hero stands up slowly, gripping his knife and pointing it straight at Kuji. He coldly reminds the man that he still has not answered the question from earlier. He demands to know if Kuji allowed Mirai to be taken just so he could recruit him. Keeping his voice calm, Kuji replies that he had no knowledge of it, so there is no reason for him to take his anger out on him. The man then asks if he would have preferred to die alongside her. Before the tension breaks, Raoul suddenly kicks the door open, and his voice cuts in as he tells our boy to put the knife away. With a serious look on his face, he taunts the man, saying that the Great Will organization is a dangerous group aiming to destroy the world, and now one of its crazy former members is sitting there trying to lecture them. Kuji steps in, explaining that Argos believes there are 2 keys to defeating the organization. The first is Gungnir, while the second is a sacred treasure known as the Seed of Fenrir, something they are determined to protect at all costs. Hearing this, our hero's mind immediately flashes back to the time Akatsuki went after Yuzuha for this very reason. He then asks what they expect him to do. Hearing that, Raoul wastes no time in needling him again, saying that now he finally sounds cooperative. But Tuji's assures them as he states that bringing down the organization is already something he has decided to do, with or without them, and Raoul agrees because a shared goal makes him easier to trust. With that, Kuji lays out their plan. They are going to target one of the core facilities of the organization where our hero once worked. Few even know of its existence. It is the research institute where forced human evolution, known as Avalon, was studied. It is also home to a special team dedicated to researching the Seed of Fenrir. If they can investigate Avalon, they can uncover everything about the treasure. Our boy thinks that it may also lead him to the truth behind why Yuzuha is being targeted. He then tells Kuji to give him the full details of the operation. When the day finally arrives, an aircraft soars high above an unknown location. Kuji stands beside him, explaining that if he succeeds in stealing and destroying the research, it will deal a massive blow to the organization. The operation is about to begin, and as he readies himself for the mission, the clock ticks down, and only 5 minutes remain before infiltration begins. As 3 minutes remain before the chopper reaches the target location, Raoul glances over at Tuji and asks if he is feeling scared. Tuji calmly replies that he feels the same way Raoul does, though in his mind, he quietly thinks that the moment he has been waiting for is finally about to happen. In the operations room right before the attack begins, Kuji lays out the details of the mission. He explains that the research facility is divided into two main sections: the above-ground complex, which has 20 floors, and the underground complex. In the past, this place served as a training ground for assassins, but now it focuses on research aimed at producing mutant assassins through genetic manipulation. Hearing that, Reika comments that it is basically a factory that turns ordinary humans into monsters. Continuing his briefing, Kuji states that their main target is located on the 3rd floor of the underground section, where the most valuable data is stored. This includes crucial information on the seed of Fenrir. Then, Raoul outlines the mission objective is to retrieve the data and, if possible, destroy the facility as a whole. For this, they will split into 2 teams, with one of them stealing the attention of the security forces, while the other infiltrates the building. Although Avalon is an extremely classified facility, its defenses are not on the level of a proper military base. Still, infiltration will be difficult since they have no precise knowledge of the internal layout. Tuji volunteers to handle the infiltration himself, but Raoul gives him a sly response, saying that was the plan from the start and hinting that he already knows the reason Tuji has been kept alive up to this point. With a sly grin, Raoul says that our boy's life will be put to use for the sake of world peace, and adds that he will be accompanying him inside, meaning they will have to work together. With only 90 seconds remaining, Raoul and Reika begin giving their final instructions. The man orders everyone to remain at their assigned positions, while Reika tells the team that 10 people will accompany her to the rooftop, and another 10 will head to the main gate. She explains that their task is to create a noisy, attention-grabbing entrance to keep security occupied, giving Tuji and Raoul a chance to slip inside during the chaos. Our hero assures her that they will pull it off without fail, and Raoul informs him that they will be making their entry from the south side. As the ramp opens, Raoul notes that he can barely see anything through the thick clouds, but our boy replies that he can clearly sense Avalon right under them. As their landing point approaches, Tuji turns to Raoul and loudly announces that he is no longer going to be Gungnir, he is Kaito Fujiwara. With that, the operation starts and everyone starts to jump off the plane. Our hero flies through the air, and Raoul tells him that he is going too fast, but he doesn't listen to him because he is thinking that this is the facility of the Great Will organization, where they train the assassins, and here he will find out why Yuzuha is being targeted. When they reach the parachute deployment zone, everyone opens their parachutes and lands safely. Raoul gets really angry with Tuji because he thought our boy was going to die, but turns out that he is quite used to stunts like that. Visibly annoyed by his constant yapping, our boy tells him to hide his parachute quickly before someone sees him. They hide in the bushes and scout the area, and Raoul says things are going smoothly just like Kuji told them, so they should be able to easily infiltrate from the southern entrance. He tells Tuji that he will open the shutter, and suddenly a blast happens on the rooftop above. Reika sends the message that according to the plan, both squads have started the diversion, so she tells both of them to quickly infiltrate the facility. While Raoul opens the shutter, our boy stands there thinking that it has finally started for real. As the shutter opens, Raoul tells him to take the lead and he will follow. Sirens go off and an emergency announcement is made in the facility that there is some suspicious activity and the security team should immediately move to the rooftop and the main gate. The researchers who are inside the facility panic and think about who would attack the organization's facility. As all the security is busy, Tuji and Raoul quickly move through the hallways together. Raoul thinks that Reika and others are doing really well and wonders if all the security has moved to the rooftop and main gate as it is far too quiet. Suddenly Tuji senses 4 enemies approaching, so he quickly moves to the corner and attacks them first. He knocks out the first one with a punch to the head and others start to fire at him, but he quickly moves and also knocks them out with only one sharp punch. Raoul is surprised to see how fast he killed 4 enemies with just a knife, and he wonders how much he was holding back earlier when he fought them both. Tuji tells him that the stairs are just ahead, and they should move quickly now. Watching all this on a monitor, Izumo says that they are infiltrating the facility with just 2 people, but they are quite strong as they defeated their enhanced assassins really easily. Meanwhile, Omega tells her that the guys look pretty delicious, and asks Izumo if he can do whatever he wants if he eliminates both of them, wanting freedom like everyone else. With a cheeky smile, Izumo agrees and tells him that the task assigned to him by Odin is to protect Avalon at all costs. He tells him that he would like to see his power, and if he does this then he will not only be officially recognized as a lance, but also become part of the 12 divine spears. After hearing that, Omega feels pumped up, because this is the very first time he will get to use his powers outside of an experiment, and he is also allowed to kill humans. On the other hand, Raoul tells our boy that they have to move as the enemies are coming, but he just stands there. While he tells him to move on, Tuji stands there and says that this is the place solely designed to produce strong killers like him through inhumane experiments, so he will reject their twisted belief that the only method to change the world is by taking innocent lives.